Hey, Max.
Hey, Scott.
We're going to be doing something cool soon, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. In honor of being done with rotten movies, we're going to have a little live celebration.
And before we can move forward, we need to take a look back.
A rotten retrospective.
That's right. Where is it going to be?
I think you said it was going to be on Facebook Live, right?
That is what I said, yeah. And I have all that set up. That's at our Facebook page at The Critical Breakdown.
Yeah?
It's going to be on Wednesday, July 13th.
No, July 12th.
July 12th? Sorry, I got the 13th on the brain. It's at 8 o'clock.
8 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. Watch us record, come ask questions, see what we look like.
Yeah. See our handsome faces.
And then also see my face.
And we'll have a little setup for the episode that we'll go over. We're probably we'll start a couple minutes of just making sure we're set up, everything's going. Then we'll kick into the episode and go from there.
Yeah,
just come join us.
Just like your Tuesday mornings when you guys listen to the Critical Breakdown, except it's Wednesday night.
Yeah, and if you can't for some reason join us, it'll be the next episode.
You're dead to us. Oh.
And you're dead to us.
Hello and welcome to the Critical Breakdown, the podcast where we start at the bottom of Rotten Tomatoes and work our way to 100% fresh. I'm Scott.
And I'm Max, and today we are talking about Friday the 13th, rated 59% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And we're joined by returning guest, I believe her 5th appearance on the Critical Breakdown, Kara.
Hi, thank you for having me back.
It wouldn't be Friday the 13th without you, I don't think.
Awesome.
We'll have to switch out your 4-timer jacket to a 5-timer jacket.
Yeah, a new patch.
So how you guys doing? What you been up to? What you been watching?
Well, I think the big one on everyone's mind is Spider-Man Homecoming, which Max and I are fresh off a watch of.
Mm-hmm.
Kara has not seen the whole thing yet, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think since it's new enough, we want to keep it mostly spoiler-free. But Max, what did you think?
I say a thumbs up. It's good. I joked around that my only complaint was Dashboard Confessionals Vindicated isn't in it.
Yeah.
And if that's my only complaint, then I probably enjoyed the movie.
When Dashboard writes you a song you put in all the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Is Macy Gray in it?
What's that?
Is Macy Gray in there?
Macy Gray made an
No, I
appearance.
didn't see a Macy Gray cameo.
Another problem.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, we'll go deeper in a future episode.
Yeah, I like it. It felt most like a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Like no other Marvel movie has packed that much little details in, like the Captain America fitness challenge and stuff, like that stupid little stuff. All these little details filling in the cracks had Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, they tie the story to the universe well, and it actually affects the plot, so that's cool.
Yeah, I was just surprised at how coherent it was, considering there were like 6 screenwriters, 2 production companies dividing up the profits and probably creative ability and stuff. So all things considered was really good. I've heard a lot of people say it was like The Breakfast Club meets Spider-Man, like a John Hughes movie. I didn't see that personally. I don't think it was so coming of age in that regard. No more different than any other Spider-Man movie, really.
Except he looks like he's the right age to come of.
Yeah.
He's not like 40 walking around in high school. So.
Team Toby.
Speaking of, to get ready, I watched Spider-Man 2 again, just knowing that that's probably the best one so far. Most people would say that, or maybe the first Spider-Man, or maybe even Amazing Spider-Man. But watching Spider-Man 2 again for the first time in probably 10 years, it's so good. I was just blown away by how much I enjoyed it.
My problem is the last of the Raimi Spider-Man films I visited was 3 to see if I still hated it, and I did, but I laughed a lot.
Yeah,
it's at least a funny movie to hate. But I have fond memories of the first 2.
I think Maguire was the perfect level of dorky.
Yeah,
and despite being in the AARP and being a high schooler or college student, it just kind of worked for the character. So I think Holland is going to be a good middle ground between Garfield and him. I
think if I had a big complaint with the original Raimi run, it's just that the female characters are kind of non-existent.
Yeah, so I would agree with that.
That's like the biggest sin they probably committed in those films.
Even the third one, it's just as love interests, right?
Yeah, and they're just like super flat. So
And there's like 7 villains in that. You could have put a lady villain in there.
yeah.
I mean, I guess say what you want about Amazing Spider-Man, but Gwen Stacy was a pretty big character. So.
She's a little bit more realized.
Yeah. She does more. So, but no, I got Spider-Man on the brain.
Little Spidey brain.
Yeah. Carrie, you been watching anything?
Yeah, I watched the Beguiled with you.
Oh
actually.
yeah, I did see that.
And that was really good.
Yeah, yeah, it was good.
A big Colin Farrell fan, so it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I might watch it this week.
It's kind of funny to watch the growth of Kirsten Dunst from the Spider-Man movies
Yeah.
to the Beguiled.
Yeah.
She's a much more serious actor now than she was then. Actually, kind of all the leads in the original Spider-Man, James Franco, Tobey Maguire, they all do really serious stuff now. But no, the Beguiled was really good. I really liked the way it was filmed, and it was shot very beautifully in a very slow pace. But
Slow pace. Is it a slow burn?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it never like a slow burn usually ends with like an explosion, you know. But
Yeah.
this, it doesn't even end with like an explosive moment or anything.
Mm-mm.
It just kind of peters along, which sounds bad, but it's not meant as an insult or anything. It's just
Meanders.
even that sounds bad. Well, like when I say a movie meanders, I think like it's not focused. This was
Yeah.
very focused on its storyline, but it's just. I don't know. I'm not describing it well. I don't think I keep using negative words, but meaning them positively.
You're like, it was rotten. I loved every minute.
In a good way. It was rotten in a
Yeah.
good way.
It suited the setting, I think. What have you been watching, Max?
I saw The Big Sick.
That's high on my list. I'll go see that this week.
Yeah.
When you go see The
We could do a
Beguiled, we can
trade-off.
carpool.
We probably could carpool, honestly.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. I enjoyed it. I say it's a very sincere, heartfelt comedy. And I enjoy comedies that aren't just like gross out,
Yeah.
stupid comedies. And I feel like we get a ton
Vom-com?
of those.
Vom-com.
Yeah, the vom-com.
Yeah, I feel like that's all we get nowadays.
Because most people think they just make money. You know, your Bridesmaids, your
Sure.
what is the Galifianakis one that I just forgot the name of?
The Hangover.
The Hangover. Like those. I mean, they make big money comparatively. So this one, it's directed by Michael Showalter, and
I
it's
didn't
like
know that.
yeah, and it's an autobiographical story.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
And it's autobiographical from the lead actor's actual life, like
So-
Kumal.
Kumali.
yeah.
Kumal. Yeah.
Did he write it?
Him and his wife wrote it
Okay.
actually. So
That's what I figured. But for such a personal story, that's really cool.
yeah, it doesn't like feel long. It's a longer comedy. It's 2 hours, but
Yeah.
I mean the story moves pretty well the whole time, and there's a lot of good chemistry with all the actors. So there's this whole B plot about him being like an up and coming comedian, and there's a couple other comedians in it too. Bo Burnham's in it.
Oh, cool.
So all those bits I really enjoyed just because they helped move the plot along of him trying to advance his career
Yeah.
while dealing with this like weird relationship thing where he meets a girl, they break up, and then she's in the hospital, and for a minute he's like the only one there. So
Yeah.
he kind of has to be there, and then he interacts with her parents. It's a good plot. It's a good story. So
I don't know why, but in the trailers when I see Ray Romano, I'm just like, hey, good on you, man. 'Cause what does Ray Romano do these days?
he's really funny in it. So I haven't seen him in a minute.
Ray Romano,
so,
yeah.
But I was
You
actually
love
really
Ray-
Everybody loves Ray
yeah,
Romano.
everybody loves him. He was good, but I was really impressed by Holly Hunter in this film. She was really
Right on.
strong. So
Yeah.
it was a good performance on her part.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten nothing but good reviews.
Yeah.
90s, so Spider-Man Homecoming, so Spider-Man 2. So it's Beguiled, I think. Maybe Beguiled's a little lower.
Yeah,
It's
I
going
think
with
it's
a
little bit lower.
theme to then walk us into Friday the 13th,
Oh.
which is not in the 90s.
I thought we were going to do a pit stop at Baby Driver. but
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
let's
sure.
do it. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk Baby Driver again.
'Cause we've all seen Baby Driver
yeah,
now.
no, we've all
so
seen it.
We've only
Twice.
had Scott's spoiler-free discussion by himself.
It was really enthralling.
It was like, I enjoyed it.
I'm like, you bet I did.
Yeah, it was good. It's
Yeah.
good movie.
Me and Kara actually have seen it together twice now.
Yep.
So,
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Um,
Did it hold up on the second run?
Yeah, I mean, it's so well paced, it's hard not to. I mean,
Yeah.
the editing it's not frantic, but it's quick and it's to the music and everything. It's not the kind of movie that you're going to fall asleep in unless you fall asleep
Oh,
during
yeah.
every movie.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was trying to tell you earlier, we had a really just diverse audience watching it with us, and I didn't
Yeah.
know how people were going to react. But everyone, because there was a lot of talking right before it started, and everyone just like shut up and paid attention the entire time.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and with the way that it brings in with the music and all the action synced to it, it's hard not to
Yeah.
get right in. Like, you strap yourself in and then you're Then
Strap
you
yourself in.
Yeah.
Getaway.
Getaway, that's right.
No, I really like Baby Driver. I don't know if I like it more than some of Wright's other work,
Yeah.
but I like it just as much. Basically, I thought it was good.
Yeah. I mean,
I have some nitpicks on it, but we don't have to get into that unless we want.
I want
to
to get into it.
Um,
Let's hear it.
there's just some things in the third act that don't make sense to me.
Yeah, the one I've seen, and I think this will be an obvious here be spoilers.
Yeah.
Here be spoilers.
But the one that I've seen people nitpick a lot is, was it Frank? Was that Kevin Spacey's character's name? Frank? I forget. Doc, yeah. When Doc like gives him the money and kind of sacrifices himself for them.
That I've seen people criticize, and I could see where it bothers people, but I enjoyed how much of a character turn it was.
Yeah.
For me, the big part that I just don't get is they all had a way out, and Baby could have escaped. And then he decided to do the gig. So I don't know why.
I think
it wasn't telegraphed enough to me why he was like, yeah, let's fucking do this.
For me, what it was like when Doc had gotten him at the restaurant, pretty much implying like, if you don't do this with me, whatever happens, like I'll kill you and your girl and everything. So he felt like he had to go through with it, but I don't know. That was a little
like that. It's not enough to ruin the movie for me by any means because it's just so fun to watch. But it did.
Yeah,
I was
think
just
at
like
that point. I mean, they hadn't fudged the heist yet, so he wasn't in the point where he'd be on the run forever yet.
Yeah.
So
he could just been like, yeah, we shouldn't do it. All right, see you guys.
Yeah, like Doc would follow him forever.
I mean, that should have been communicated more within the film. Though I feel like it should have been like he's trying to decide it. And then my only other complaint would be just female characters again. I liked them; they were charming, but they weren't like doing anything with the story. So but that's, I mean, you could argue it's his story, so he's the main focus. Everyone else is kind of like a flat character compared to him. So and I'm fine with that as a whole. It's just kind of like it would have been nicer to see a little bit more nuance.
I liked. Is it Lily James? Is that?
Yeah.
I liked her in it, but I guess she doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
Other than be the apple of the eye.
He's like, "What are you doing tomorrow night?" And she's like, "Anything you want." And it's just like that's her character arc.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
It was like that from the start, though. Too.
Like it's like a. I'm looking. It's like an archetypal story in that sense, but I mean, it works. It's just kind of. It would have been cooler to see something else with it.
Yeah, sure.
That part, but I like the whole thing.
What I don't. The only thing I didn't get is how she didn't get arrested. Because she like aided and abetted a criminal. Like multiple murders at this point, right? I guess he got manslaughter, but. I
mean, she could have. They could have just said like he rescued her, like she was taken against her will. So. And
he probably would have said that. So I didn't really care, but. I have heard little rumblings that there might be a sequel. There might be after it had a really good opening weekend, above expectations, around 30 million. I think it's still projections for the weekend, but you said it's around 11.
I think so.
Yeah,
for this weekend.
Which is, it's not a huge drop, but it's, I mean, when you have a drop that's only like 40% or something like Wonder Woman had, that's really notable. But this one doesn't look like it's going to have particularly good legs. So I just wonder what they would even do with a sequel. For one, and then two, if it has justified one.
Him and Deborah have kids, and then he becomes Daddy Driver.
Daddy. That'd be interesting. But I mean, I kind of trust Edgar Wright pretty blindly now. Like whatever he's gonna do, I'm gonna go see it.
I like that he does original stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would like to see more original. So then I feel conflicted on like a sequel to this.
Yeah. But I mean, even though he does do all original stuff, it'd be cool to see what he'd do with the sequel.
Oh yeah,
you know? I bet you there'd be a lot more character turns, and maybe John Bernthal could show up again.
But he's dead. If you don't see him again, he's dead.
Which I love that about his character, but you could bring him back.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of stuff. I still don't think John Hamm's dead.
I love Madman Ham.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah, he was cool. That was a good turn. We're still in spoiler zone here, but they made him seem like a good, nice guy, even though he's a bad guy, and then all of a sudden he's like this monster towards the end.
Well, they set up Jamie Foxx as your monster because he's the crazy one.
Bats.
And when he died, I was just blown away. That was so sudden to me.
Yeah.
No, it was really good. And then when John Hamm went full crazy, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Like they had said earlier in the movie, when he sees red, you see black or something. Yeah.
Apparently, Edgar Wright had approached John Hamm like 5 years ago about making the movie, and John Hamm was like, "Yeah, let's do this. I'm in." And it just kept getting pushed back, and he finally got to make it. So,
I feel like John Hamm's not in as many movies as he should be. Am I the only one who thinks that? Like, he was in that, Keeping Up with the Joneses or whatever earlier this year. But
yeah.
I feel like, Mad Men's obviously a big job, but he should be like an A-list star, and I feel like he doesn't get those roles.
I think he'll be transitioning from TV to movie, like, more seriously in the next couple of years. So, hopefully.
I want it. I like him.
Yeah, or he could just be picky, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he did The Town, and that was excellent. And
oh, yeah. I forgot he was in The Town.
Oh, yeah.
That was excellent. And that was when he was still doing Mad Men. So, I'd like let's get John Hamm in a superhero movie, you know? Give him one.
John Hamm, Cinematic Universe?
Sure.
Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham.
For the sequel.
Nice.
Maybe they could reboot Friday the 13th again with John Hamm as Jason.
Yeah, speaking of cinematic universes, might as well.
The original cinematic universe. Friday the 13th. We're talking the original, 1980.
1980.
One of the first slasher films. Max, what's the plot synopsis for Friday the 13th?
A group of camp counselors were stalked and murdered by an unknown assailant while trying to reopen a summer camp, which, years before, was the site of a child's drowning. It's dark.
Boom.
It's mysterious.
Kind of mysterious. We're not going to get all the way into it yet, but the first half of the movie, you don't really know what's going on. You just know people are dying. So,
yeah, that's true.
I thought that was kind of weird. But, no, it's... this was directed by Sean S. Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly did not look up what else he's done. Was he involved in more Friday the 13th?
Just producing. He produced some of the others after. He produced The Last House on the Left before, and he didn't really do much directing or anything else.
I get
of anything
why.
notable. Yeah.
I wouldn't say this is a real triumph of his directing ability, but there's something to be said for building the tropes that a genre has. It's the foundation for the genre, even if it's not particularly well done, in my opinion. Kara, I know you're a big Friday the 13th fan. Do you legitimately...
of the slashers, it's not at the top for me.
What's at the top?
Halloween.
The original slasher,
yes,
right?
Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street is like a close second.
Okay, so this is the bronze.
And Friday the 13th, like, John Carpenter is an excellent filmmaker.
Yeah.
Wes Craven is an excellent storyteller. And Cunningham is at camp.
Yeah.
He knows how to finish a movie, how to end it.
Yeah,
that was a good ending.
He can end with a bang. That's for sure.
No, I would say I'm a Nightmare on Elm Street boy first, and then I haven't seen Halloween Forever, but I remember liking it. It was good. I haven't rewatched it a ton of times, but like she said, it's Carpenter.
I don't watch these kinds of movies. It's not good for my heart.
I have I told Scott this when we were watching it, but my sister, when I was growing up, my oldest sister described this movie to me in detail one night, like a scary story, and I knew every plot point from that, but I had never actually sat down and watched the film. So it was really weird to go back and watch it and be like, oh, I know this. Oh, and this is happening. And that. So I was having a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because both Friday the 13th and Halloween were supposed to be like, if they did more, they'd be like serial movies where they weren't like the same story.
Which that makes
both
sense
are
to
like
me.
Based around dates, so it was just supposed to be like campsite.
Like knowing
tales.
nothing about the other ones, Nightmare on Elm Street sounds more specific to its location and people, whereas these you could do whatever with them.
Yeah.
But you don't. With Friday the 13th, you make the same movie 8 years in a row, basically.
Then you send him to space.
Yeah.
That's all you could do with him after that. So
that's Jason X, which we'll do on our sequels run.
Yeah. Just sequels.
Yeah. Well, what else could we have watched?
We could have watched Real Steel, which you actually watched recently.
Yeah, I did that for our May movie reviews. It's fine. It's better than this.
War Dogs.
I also watched that recently. I did not like it very much.
So you like this better or that better?
I would say Friday the 13th better. War Dog. What's funny about War Dogs? Jonah Hill gained a ton of weight for the movie, and when you look at the guy he's playing as just like an average dad bod guy, and it's just like, why did you gain all that weight? Like, I really don't get it.
That was directed by Todd Phillips, right?
Yep.
Todd Phillips was probably just like, I want you big for this one.
And Jonah Hill's like, I was already big.
He has before. Jonah Hill has said that people think he's funnier when he's fat, and they get angry at him when he's skinny, and he doesn't know why.
Sad.
It is very sad. He's lost a lot of weight, though. He looks real good right now.
Yeah, I've seen him. He's like kind of fit now, too.
It's like scary, and it's just like, make jokes, man. I'm just
Brona Hill. So. Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Another Lyman classic.
Instead, I feel like
it's
we
rotten.
talk about this one every other week. We probably do.
I've never seen it. So.
It's
Again,
say-
I never will.
yeah. I would say let's watch it, but we just passed its number.
That's okay.
Popeye.
This is Robin Williams, right?
Yeah, it's a weird movie, man. I thought I made you watch the trailer,
I think you did.
but you probably just were like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the reason to make a live action Popeye movie.
It's really strange. It's like not sick looking, but it's a strange movie, man. I can't even explain it. Same year, directed by Robert Altman. So yeah,
Yeah, Robert Altman. Didn't he do Patterson? Was that him? No,
I
I'm
think
thinking of
Altman
someone else.
died. So I'm
So
thinking of
probably not.
Patterson. Yeah, so Popeye. W, the George W. Bush movie.
Yeah, I think we didn't pick that just because we don't want to talk about George W. Bush for an hour and a half. But
Yeah.
I know people who saw it and liked it. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a cutting look at his presidency or a biographical film or whatever, but I've never seen
Yeah,
it.
it
I'm
seemed
not
weird
that
to
into
watch
it.
it. I never saw it.
Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
3 for 3.
Centurion. It's a Fassbender Rome movie.
All right.
It's kind of like the King Arthur we watched,
That's a shame.
but better. It's honestly better. So, and then City of Angels.
The Nick
Nicolas
Cage?
Yeah.
I don't know it.
Nicolas Cage plays an angel who falls in love with
It's like a doctor,
but
right?
who's it played
Meg
by? Meg
Ryan,
Ryan.
yeah.
Yeah, doctor
Oh.
played by Meg Ryan. So he falls from the sky to become a human, and that's like their love story. They have like a night together.
And
and
then the song. What's the song?
Well, there's Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. Isn't that in it? Or is it
It's
the other
one
one?
It's a good song.
It's a Goo Goo Dolls song. Then there's also there's a U2 song and an Alanis song, I want to say. It had a good soundtrack.
Probably.
It was a big soundtrack. This was like a big romantic movie at the time.
Yeah, like this was one of the last like
big mom movies, I
Yeah.
would say.
When did it come out?
because the video. I remember the music video was like all just clips from the movie.
Yeah. I want to say it's a 97. 98. It's 98. Yeah, so it came out in 98. It was I watched it when it came out on video, and it wasn't like amazing. Wasn't even that good. There's a twist with it. You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I'm not going to see it, so.
After he turns to human and they have their night together, she gets hit by a car and she
Oh.
dies.
Wow,
Jeez,
that's like
that's
very
grim.
90s. Just
Yeah, it's very dark.
Meet Joe Black.
She's like riding her bike with her arms out with headphones or something, and then a
Yeah.
truck hits her. It's a really dumb death.
Nicolas Cage is that good of a leg, you
Yeah.
know? You just get out there on your bike and you.
And then Dennis Franz is in it from NYPD Blue.
oh my god.
and
he is.
and he also played an angel, I think, who like fell years before. Yeah, because his name's like Nathaniel Messenger or something like that.
Don't kill the
Maggie
messenger.
Rice.
It's a dumb movie. I'll just put it that way. We honestly probably would have had fun watching it, but it's dumb.
I think we're at that point now where all the movies would be at least interesting.
Yeah,
You know, this is like the 90s of rotten movies, like the 90% of rotten movies. You know?
that's true. Yeah. This is actually like the 100% of rotten movies.
This is a perfect rotten movie.
Yeah. So, but what made us pick Friday the 13th specifically?
Well, had we done like a true horror film? I know we did like a Halloween special where we watched
I
It
know.
Follows.
We did.
Oh, yeah.
I know what you did.
It was
last
last summer. Yeah, no, we did do one. So, yeah, why did we pick this?
Well, it's iconic.
Yeah.
I know what you did last summer isn't iconic. If anything, it's just from a very specific 90s era of like teen horror that got big from Scream,
Yeah.
but nowhere near as good. So we wanted something like legitimate.
I think I liked I Know What You Did Last Summer better than this. It was dumber, but
Yeah,
it worked
yeah.
for me more.
That's fair.
I'm just a big Anne Heche fan.
Her weird accent, man. I'm still thinking about that.
No, I mean, it's none of these other movies are really iconic of any reason, and Friday the 13th is, I mean, it's one of the first 3 slasher films. We talked about them a little bit already, but you got to honor the greats. This is also the oldest movie we've watched, right? When was
Probably.
Dune? Dune was like 84.
84,
right?
yeah.
And
So
then
this is
Mac and
probably-
Me was like 88,
Yeah.
and Willow was 88. I
Mhm.
think those are the oldest ones. So
Yeah.
we want to get one more 1980 film in there before we go fresh, or something.
Yeah. Who's in this movie, man?
I mean, Kevin Bacon.
Yeah,
It's really all about the bacon.
He's the main person you would recognize.
For me, he's the only person I recognize.
Yeah,
so,
true.
The characters also aren't defined enough to say like, oh yeah, Kevin Bacon plays Jack. Like I don't even know if his name was said in the movie at all. I believe it was, but
Probably.
it's never enough to take notice of. I really don't know who any of these other people are. So
Yeah, they're barely even archetypes as far as characters. They're just kind of your archetypes are you have annoying guy.
Yeah.
You have one girl who's kind of more reserved. You have one girl and guy who are loose and hook up.
Yeah.
That's as defined as you get.
I meant I don't know who any of these actors and actresses are.
No, I know, but I mean, I don't know who the characters are.
That
Too.
too.
That too.
Like, either or.
You know that the actors haven't done much too when you look at their pictures on IMDb, and a lot of them are from Friday the 13th, like Mark Nelson and Rex Everhart.
What's funny with Kevin Bacon in this movie is he's like the exact same person he is now, almost completely. Like he plays just normal Kevin Bacon in this movie. Watch any random Kevin Bacon movie where he's kind of like a sexy guy, but also just like straight-faced, kind of cool.
His character has no traits. Like he's not like a brash like dick. He's not like a really good guy. He's just a counselor.
I think he's
there.
like
He has sex with
the chill cool guy, but they don't even like
Maybe,
push that.
Well, I mean,
really.
that's the thing with Friday the 13th is they're always like body count movies. Like I think Jason has like the highest body count out of the slashers, so they like spend no time.
developing. Those characters
anybody.
And stuff. Yeah. Well, does this even count as a body count for Jason?
It doesn't.
Little teaser.
And Scott, you didn't know that going in.
Yeah.
Right?
So I associate Friday the 13th with Jason, as most people probably do. But Jason isn't even really in this movie. I mean, he's mentioned, for the first time an hour and a half in or something like that?
Yeah, hour and 16 minutes.
Yeah. And that's like the climax of the movie that he's mentioned. And then I guess there's one jump scare that he's in, sort of, but it's not even really him. It's a dream sequence. And, and then apparently he's also not even in the second one, or he's not the main...
No, the mask, the hockey mask.
Oh, that's right.
It's not till the third.
The
he's
iconic.
in the second one.
Yeah. But this one is all his mother, Mrs. Voorhees, played by Betsy Palmer, doing all the killing. So that was a legitimate twist for me, for no reason. I mean, if I had sat down and watched this without knowing anything about it, that would not have been a twist. But
yeah, it's like the
that's a nice
culture
little
of the
bonus.
movie had built up a twist for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I was laughing because you and I knew the twist, but you and Jody were both just like, that guy's Jason.
Yeah.
No, this guy's Jason.
Yeah.
This guy's definitely Jason. And so I was just sitting there kind of like giggling to myself because I was like, they don't even know. But yeah, this movie, it's pretty straightforward with the plot. These people reopen a camp and then they get murdered.
Yeah.
Before the camp officially opens.
Yeah, what's funny is the opening scenes are this one girl who's going to be a counselor, and she never actually makes it to the camp.
No.
So other than for body count, I don't know why she's even in the movie. But what I was thinking just now, literally seconds ago, I thought of this, was Mrs. Voorhees at that like truck stop diner, and I heard her say, "Oh, I'm going to Camp Crystal Lake."
Maybe.
That would make sense then as to why she was going there to kill everyone, to kill all the counselors. If she was there, she was like, "Okay, yeah, I heard that." Put all the
And
pieces
she got
together.
triggered.
Yeah, triggered.
I don't know. That'd be worth trying to rewatch the scene.
I don't think she was, but
Yeah.
it would have been kind of cool.
It would have been.
Yeah.
So yeah, we open with this girl trying to make it to the camp. She gets into a stranger's car.
Yeah, and that's a very sign of the times,
Yeah.
I think. In the 80s, you could do that.
Well, first she gets in like a trucker's truck and takes off, and that's fine. Then she later gets into a car and gets murdered, and she like jumps out of a moving vehicle. Is that her?
Yeah.
The car was going like 50 miles an hour around a turn, and she just like softly lands against a rock on the side of the road.
And limps away.
Yeah. And then the first couple kills, I think, or maybe it was just this one, were all done in like the first person, which was kind of interesting, actually. It doesn't rely on jump scares hardly at all, which I was very pleased with because I hate jump scares. I think they're very cheap.
Yeah.
But here, you pretty much always know when someone's going to die, either from the music changing and the camera changing to the killer's angle, or...
Which is the composer used kill and ma, like killer mommy, like the mother saying killer mommy.
And that was that.
Yeah, he like
clip?
chopped up the like kill and ma.
Oh, wow.
So it's like ma, 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 ma.
That's cool.
Huh. Yeah, that is cool.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So
Look at
every
that.
time it's like from the mother's point of view,
Yeah.
it's her version of Jason saying that in her head when she does the like kill her
Wow,
mommy.
cool. See?
Oh yeah, because Huh. Wow, a little depth there.
Yeah.
That's good.
Scott's blown away.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. I don't even remember what I was talking about.
POV kills.
Yeah, so
Like you knew it was coming.
yeah, you
once
knew
it-
it was coming every time because it was either the camera change and kill, mama comes on,
Mommy.
or
Mommy.
or the situation's like so obvious that someone's gonna die. And I don't know if that was the movie succeeding in that or if it's just our expectations. Like when the guy goes alone to check the generator, it's like, well, that's that for him, you know. Did the movie build that up right, or did we just know that this is what this movie is?
We for sure know if you're in a horror movie and you walk away from everyone else, you're getting killed.
Yeah.
Like that's for sure a horror movie law, like no matter what. So I would say, I mean, I assume going into these kind of films that that guy's gonna die. You leave the group, you're just gonna die.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, it pretty much happened every time here. The one guy, the last male standing, I don't know his character or actor's name, but the last male standing did have a couple where he got to go out and come back. So I was like, oh, okay, he's going to be okay. And then they killed him the next time. But, so the first like half hour shows these counselors just like goofing off. And I feel like a better movie would have used these moments to like set up some of the kills or something, like foreshadow them, but it really doesn't. The only one that might have was the archery, when they're setting up the archery targets. Ned, the goofball who was so fucking annoying. Ned shoots an arrow like right next to this girl and he's like, I could have hit you if I wanted or something. I don't know what he said.
He's that guy for sure.
But then someone later in the movie gets an arrow through the eye or head, whatever. But what disappointed me about that was there was another character who died in the archery range, but not via arrows. That person should have been like peppered by arrows and stuck in one of the targets, but they weren't.
Some of these kills I really enjoyed. Some kind of grossed me out. The Kevin Bacon one, arrow through the throat.
That was
from
pretty cool.
Underneath the bed. Yeah, that was cool.
That whole sequence was cool too because Ned's body is up in the top bunk.
Yeah.
And if you notice the details, they don't really call attention to him right away, but like the blood's dripping down and so that was pretty cool.
When they finally showed him, we laughed for a second because his eyes were just like wide open in shock.
Yeah.
So we were like, what if he's just shocked listening to them do it?
Yeah. And you don't see the throat slit right away.
Yeah.
So then when they zoom out more, you're like, oh no, he's dead. But then Mrs. Voorhees being under there the whole time was a nice little moment. I didn't expect it. I expected when the person leaves, that's when they get killed. Kevin Bacon wasn't even that dumb. He was like, I'm staying right where I am.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't watch the trailer then because the trailer shows 13 deaths, which might be all of them.
Wait, the trailer shows all the deaths?
Yes, the trailer counts to 13 and shows deaths, which is awful.
I honestly am surprised that there's 13 deaths in the movie because there's, 6 counselors?
I know they count
Don't
to
forget
13.
the 50s scene.
Oh, yeah, so that was 2 more
so that's
counselors,
2.
so that's 8. There was the head guy. Did the crazy guy die? The lunatic that was in that cabin?
Oh, what's his name? I forgot. That's one name. Crazy Ralph.
Crazy Ralph.
Yeah.
Did he die? I don't remember. His character's weird. He died. He shows up right away and is like, "Don't go to Camp Crystal Lake. It's haunted." And then he's just at the cabins.
Yeah, he's like, "You're
"Don't
doomed."
go." He's like, "You're doomed. You're at Camp Crystal Lake. It's haunted." And I don't remember what happens to him. That cop, I think, died. Right?
Which cop?
The one that dropped. What's his name? I don't know, man. The one that dropped the older manager off.
Oh yeah.
Did he die? I don't know. It's hard to follow when all the characters blend together.
Yeah.
I think I'm looking for too much from the movie when I want to know who they are.
Yeah, I think, and that's kind of a good point. A lot of people going into slasher films, you're not looking for too much. Yeah. You're looking for people. You're looking for 13 deaths in a movie. You know, you're looking for a body count.
Yeah.
At least back then, you were looking for just a body count. And these old trailers, they used to be really funny. It'd be a guy talking he'd say something like, "This is just me making it up," but 13 deaths fall upon this camp, and then all people would get killed.
Yeah,
and
that's
shit.
basically it.
Yeah, so
I played it as part of an old series, and so I found the trailer so that we could play the trailer before other movies. I was like, wow, this is an awful trailer. This is not what you want to do.
It's
I feel like until the last like 10 years, trailers were like pretty bad on the whole.
well,
or just like
in my memory,
what's in a trailer is a lot.
I
has
remember
changed
like
a lot.
I remember 2000s trailers being good.
Yeah.
When I go back and watch them now, I'm like, these kind of suck.
Maybe it's just the times, man.
Yeah,
You know?
but I mean, old like 70s and 80s trailers were literally somebody narrating everything, telling you the entire plot in a weird voice. Then the 90s ones were like the in a world.
Yeah.
And those got a little bit better. But then the 2000s, I remember like the Lord of the Rings trailers were good. There's a lot of good superhero trailers then. And when I try to go back and watch them now, I'm like, they're not really that good.
Now the best trailers are the ones where it's like synced to the music and like it's cool editing and sometimes it's like a vertical slice of one scene or something.
Yeah. And you want like a balance where you let the main story be told without spoiling things.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Back then it was just like shit. Show everything.
Yeah.
Plus, like if you took a modern, like the people who made the trailers for like Dunkirk or something, and you gave them this movie, and you're like, get us a trailer. Doesn't reveal everything, just a little taste. What would you even show? Like
fun at a summer camp.
But there wasn't even a scene of fun at the summer camp. I guess
the
maybe at
drowning
start, scene. Well, yeah, the fake drown.
Yeah. Do that and then end with just like one person getting killed.
Do the drownings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start off with the light drowning.
Yeah, that was weird too because Ned, not funny again, pretends to drown, and Jason's just like watching from the other side. You learn later that Jason drowned at the camp because of like counselor negligence or something.
Was that Jason watching or was that Mrs. Voorhees?
I don't fucking know. Man. It was Mrs. Voorhees watching then?
Yeah.
That makes sense because Jason's not like an active presence in this movie. I'm just going to call Mrs. Voorhees Jason.
That's fine.
But so she's just like watching and triggered, I guess, by it.
Yeah.
But all those counselors reacted pretty well, in my opinion, to Ned's fake drowning. Everyone got out there, like they sent canoes out and stuff. The only thing was the one girl who had the what is it, the life ring?
Oh yeah, the life preserver.
The ring that you throw out. She threw it when Ned was less than a foot away from the dock, and it just
also
like hit him in the legs.
Also, she threw it in the wrong direction.
Yeah. So, but I would say that was a pretty good response. So the new Camp Crystal Lake management has really stepped up since Jason's drowning. is my point of view on it.
How weird would it be if she saw that and she was like, "What have I done? I've killed a girl."
These kids are good.
Yeah.
These are good kids.
Except for Ned.
Yeah, she should have been a training coordinator or something, and the kids who weren't paying attention got killed.
That's a way different movie, though.
I want to talk about a moment in this movie. It's my favorite moment because it doesn't make any sense. After the storm starts, people are starting to get killed. Two of the girls and one of the guys start playing strip Monopoly.
Yeah.
How in the hell does strip Monopoly work? They say instead of money, you take your clothes off. How can you play Monopoly without money?
So I think when you land on a property and you have to pay somebody for being on the property.
How do you buy the property?
So what?
How do you buy the property?
I don't know, man.
What do you get when you pass go?
I don't know. Here's the thing, and here's my confession. I actually have never played the true game of Monopoly.
Oh,
we always play.
Here's my confession. I've never played strip Monopoly.
I haven't done that either. But we always played some weird bastardized version of it that skipped half the rules.
Yeah, I
also
like
don't really like it. So
I don't know if anybody truly likes Monopoly.
Yeah.
My dad's really good at Monopoly, but
yeah,
so
people who are really
good
at it like it, but they like hate like it.
Yeah,
they like winning. That's all.
Isn't it another Risk game where like there's not like you never get to the end?
No, Monopoly will have an end game eventually. Risk, this isn't the Risk podcast, but Risk, just by its game mechanics, it never incentivizes the player to actually try to win because you're always the underdog whenever you do anything to try to win. Monopoly is more just random luck because it's just based on how you roll your dice and landing on the right spot at the right time. There's nothing you can do about it. But Risk is more strategic, but its mechanics are broken. This is not that podcast.
You know what's even more strategic? Strip Monopoly.
Yeah.
Strip Risk.
You got to go for the flannels first.
Yeah. Wear lots of layers to Strip Monopoly.
The best part about Strip Monopoly 2 is it ended when everyone was in their underwear, but then they would all, instead of putting their clothes back on, just like put a raincoat on and leave. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's funny because the one girl in her underwear did that. She put her raincoat on, and then she grabbed her clothes in her hand and ran out in the rain.
Yeah.
So now she has wet clothes in one hand and is just in her underwear. Like, that was just very nonsensical.
And then the other girl, I feel like, did the same thing. But then when she got back to her cabin. She had a nice robe on. I remember she was reading a book. It looked
Yeah.
very cozy, actually.
Yeah.
If it weren't for Mrs. Voorhees, that would have been a nice
decent
job.
night. Yeah. So with this whole setting of like, you know, camp and cabins in the woods and stuff, how do you guys think this like adds like compares to other movies with similar settings besides the Friday the 13th series, which is the same movie? So
I feel like the camp and everything builds up like a seclusion, and you kind of drop the adult supervision that might come with like protecting the camp a little better. Like the camp counselors are college students, right? Maybe even high schoolers. I don't even know probably college students in this, but so I think it suits a slasher film well. It's secluded enough that once a killer gets there, they can run rampant, I guess, and
yeah.
you have to worry about like cops showing up. Even though in this movie the cops are everywhere, but not doing anything.
Yeah. They just didn't like that one guy doing a stupid impression.
Yeah.
That was a weird moment. Kevin Bacon grabbed his radio to answer it for no reason.
These guys had no respect for the cops. The cops showed up because they were looking for Crazy Ralph.
Yeah.
And the one guy's doing a really racist Native American impression. And then the cop's motorcycle radio gets buzzed and Kevin Bacon picks it up.
Yeah.
It's just like next Kevin Bacon's just like pull his gun out of the holster or something.
This is that time period, man. You could just do that stuff.
Yes.
Um,
Do other horror movies like use a camp as a trope?
I'm not thinking camp too much, but definitely like wooded, secluded cabin.
Yeah. I know Cabin in the Woods does.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods is great, but it's not like a slasher movie. It's like a meta horror.
Yeah.
If that. It's just
It's a really
comedy.
good multiple, like you said, meta.
Yeah.
Just
But I mean,
different
it's
directions there.
playing on Friday
yeah,
the 13th.
it uses the tropes on
Yeah.
purpose. So
It's like, what's the setting for Halloween?
Neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
Freaking
And that's
neighborhood.
Nightmare on Elm Street too, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
What I like with Nightmare on Elm Street is that's the supernatural element's really strong with the dreams and all that. Like, it's really fun. This one, I like that it's not supernatural until the end, technically, I guess. That it's just a mom on revenge. That's cool. I like that about it.
Yeah. I've never seen any other ones, so I can't really compare.
Yeah, I mean, the plot's not that deep. It's just like a shitty opposite Psycho.
Yeah.
Where the,
Yeah. It is kind of an opposite Psycho.
Where the mother's the dead son and not the son
Yeah,
being the dead mother.
She does this thing where she's talking to herself as Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was pretty weird.
Yeah. It was super weird.
They had a lot of close-ups on her face, and her face both looked like an old lady's and a little boy's. And it made me super uncomfortable. Everything about Mrs. Voorhees kind of makes me uncomfortable, but that's good for like.
It's probably
killer.
supposed to, yeah. At this point, had it been set with like Halloween, and did Nightmare on Elm Street come out before this?
After. They were like 84. Halloween was right before, so
Yeah.
this was all just like based on Halloween's success.
And Halloween was the like final girl or like the heroine or hero or whatever. Were they really dumb?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, Lori was not dumb.
Because in this one, I felt like that last girl was like super dumb with all the stuff she was doing. Like she'd hide in places where she couldn't get out if she was found. Like she hid in the pantry, and she has like a bunch of guns to use, and she doesn't.
Yeah, it takes her a while to fight back.
Yeah.
I feel like in better movies, the final girl gets fed up a lot faster and like tries to fight back. She doesn't necessarily succeed. But in this one, I mean, it takes a while for her to like grab that frying pan or whatever else she got.
Yeah.
So
And then like when they were in the gun room, which it's insane that there's a gun room at this camp, but she just like bops her on the head and then leaves again. Like never finishes the job, you know. Double tap. You got to double tap.
I was like, you can't do that. You can't just hit her and take off running.
And then rather than like get in that Jeep that had another dead body in it and just drive away probably safely, she got in the canoe and just went out in the middle of the lake.
Yeah.
Where we then get
and fell asleep because she was just like, I'm tuckered out.
Yeah. They all sleep fine.
Better place than anywhere. So.
Yeah. And then how did the cops end up there?
I feel like they showed, what's his name? Steve? Was it Steve, the guy who owned the camp? Steve Christie?
Sure.
I feel like he talked to a cop and they gave him a ride up.
Yeah. His car had like stalled.
Yeah.
And then the cop like dropped him off at the camp and was like, I'll come by. Well, no, because Steve had said I'll get one of the other counselors to bring me back to my car in the morning. So
Yeah,
maybe he saw the car and was like,
I
"Oh."
was gonna say, I assume
let's
with
see
this
what's
car
going
still being
on.
out there, they came in the
Yeah.
morning to check on stuff.
Just found like a bunch of dead bodies
Yeah.
and a sleeping person in a canoe on a lake.
And that's literally the best scene in the movie.
Oh, for sure.
There's this like minute-long shot of her asleep on the lake with this really cool music playing, building up the entire time.
Yeah.
And
Her hand is like dangling in the water.
her hand's dangling. It feels uneasy, but at the same time, you're like, this is done.
Yeah.
Like the movie's finished.
Yeah. This is her triumphant scene.
Yeah. And so you don't know what's gonna happen, and then the creepiest little Jason pops out of the water and grabs her in one of the best jump scares I've ever seen.
I thought I was gonna break your armchair that I was.
You
sitting
yelled.
in.
Jody yelled and
freaked
started
out,
crying
yeah.
immediately. I knew that was coming from my sister's story when I was a kid, so I was just ready for it. And I was laughing immediately, but it was just so good. So
I don't see. I personally don't think that's good. I think it's cheap. It's a cheap thrill, but like I don't know. Because I just don't like jump scares.
No, and I get that. If you don't like jump scares, you're gonna hate it. Like
Yeah.
there's no way around that.
It's like if Kara right now just started like popping fireworks in my face, like I'd be scared, but I wouldn't be like, that was a good prank.
But if there was like a minute buildup of her extending her arm and then like the music playing and the camera zooming in, I would probably think it's funny or scary.
Did you like playing with Jack in the Box when you were a kid?
I don't think
I
anybody
hated that.
likes
Yeah.
Yeah.
playing
See,
with that.
I hate that. It's
I assume a
terrifying.
clown's holding it, and that just sounds terrible.
Well, it's just it whines and the music goes and then the thing pops out. It's the same thing as a jump scare. You don't know when it's coming, but the build-up's there and then boom.
But
and
if
you're
you
not
actively
happy.
do it, it's because you want to be scared.
Yeah, but I never actively did it.
That's
And I hated it here.
that's fair.
It's Jason in a box. Jason looked fucking creepy too. His forehead was like 9 times bigger than it should have been.
Yeah.
I think was he supposed to be
He was-
alien monster?
They said he's like a special child or
Yeah,
a
I
slow
think it was
child.
just like
Yeah.
Oh.
kind of special.
Yeah.
He looked
Right?
like Mac from Mac and Me.
Yeah. Kind of like that crossed with the movie Mask with Cher and Eric Stoltz.
Rocky from Mask.
That's Eric Stoltz.
Yeah.
Funny enough, this isn't even the creepiest he's looked because of the butterfly effect where he rapes a bunch of kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he does kind of have a rocky look to
Yeah.
him. Jason does.
And the kid who played him, like, still does horror conventions and
Really?
like makes a living off like
Hey, good for that kid.
jumping out of the water for 5 seconds when
yeah,
he
because
was like
he wasn't
8.
in any of the sequels, right? Because in the
No,
sequels
yeah.
he was older, or at least a larger human. And all the sequels came out then like
Right
year
after-
after
yeah.
year,
Yeah.
so he'd be 9 when the second one came out. Well, that's cool. I mean,
Good
it's
for him.
easily
Yeah.
the most iconic moment of this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing comes close other than everything Kevin Bacon's in, maybe. But
They try to set up Corey Feldman as like a Jason too, like later in the series.
as like another Jason.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so I had read the plot synopsis and just I'm trying to remember what they all were. Most of them end up with more people trying to live or hang out at or start up Camp Crystal Lake again.
They never learn.
They never learn. Then there's Jason Goes to Manhattan, right?
He takes Manhattan.
He takes Manhattan, yeah.
Which he possesses a body, which is really weird.
At the morgue,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And then
And then what else was there? I'm trying to remember. Everything else was pretty much Camp Crystal Lake, right?
yeah.
He had one romp around. That was the one. Was there one on a cruise ship or something?
Didn't Takes Manhattan deal with a boat?
I think so.
I don't
That
remember,
might have
man.
been the one with the boat.
They all sound terrible. They all got terrible rings. Have you seen all the Friday the 13th?
I'm
Kara?
pretty sure.
Including
yeah.
Jason X?
Yes. Yeah. And Jason versus Freddy wasn't terrible.
Oh, okay.
The Friday the 13th remake wasn't awful.
Yeah, so who was involved in the Friday the 13th remake? Like the same production and...
No, I think just the original director produced it, and I think
Okay.
that was basically it.
But I feel like these horror movies get remade all the time. Like Evil Dead got remade in 2013.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that one even got like pretty good reviews.
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, we watched that one. That
yeah.
one was good.
It was probably the most disgusting horror film I've seen as far as like gore on a big screen. Because there's some scenes in there that are just gross.
Yeah.
But most of the time you just rent those and watch them yourself at home. Well, you don't, but other people do.
Sure don't.
But most of the times you'll catch that kind of action just like at your house. So to see just a giant screen of like that much blood squirting out and people cutting their own cheeks open with glass and shit.
Yeah, the arm part is like really gross.
There's a lot of gross in it.
But yeah, the remake is like no Mrs. Voorhees. Like it's.
Oh, okay. It's pure Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the Mrs. Voorhees angle to it. I think now, like, if someone for some reason gave me a budget and was like, "Scott, you make a Friday the 13th movie," I'd probably do a mix of Mrs. Voorhees and Jason. Like Mrs. Voorhees reveal would be earlier for me, and then she would like die and everyone would think they're safe, and then Jason would come or something. I don't know what I would do with it. I would just make a rom-com
where she sets her life back to where it should be.
Yeah. No, but like if
meets
someone
a young man
made
who's
me make a horror movie,
coming of age.
Yeah. I don't know. I just wouldn't make a horror movie, but
yeah, I mean, for me, these are, I don't know what I would do different with this film because it's just so locked in time and it's weird and funny, but I don't know. I felt like I liked watching it. I get it.
Yeah, I didn't particularly enjoy it. And the other thing is like it's not even jump scares in the first half or even the first 2/3, but I just find it boring. Like the writing is awful. There's not
it's
like
pretty
quick,
shallow,
witty jokes or anything between the counselors. I don't know. None of the characters are developed at all. So like that's what I like to see in a movie, which is why these movies are not for me. So if anyone thinks they're a Scott as far as movie taste goes, don't watch this one.
Yeah.
If you're a Kara, watch it. If you're a Max,
you like trash?
probably watch it.
I will say, and Kara knows this, there was a Nintendo game for Friday the 13th, which was the most terrifying game I ever played.
You showed me clips from it.
Yeah, you just walk around a camp, then you go in these cabins.
With like little dead kids in there.
Yeah. And like Jason's just going to show up randomly in a room and attack you, and it's terrifying.
And this is on the NES, right?
On the NES. It's
SNES,
very, very simple, very stupid, but very scary when I was young and in high school when we tried to play it again.
Spend hours just sitting.
Was there like an
end
goal?
We weren't good at it.
Yeah,
so I
we would die. We finally like managed to escape a cabin and like escape Jason, and we got to the woods, and then wolves jumped out and killed us.
There was a lot of weird
stuff. The classic Friday the 13th.
I don't think
wolves.
any of it necessarily matches up with the movies.
Yeah.
He's like purple in it, so.
Yeah. But that was probably scarier overall than this film is.
They actually came out with another Friday the 13th game within the last couple of months where one person controls Jason and everyone else controls a counselor, and they got to try and survive. And I think they got to take down Jason somehow. But the Jason character gets a bunch of powers. They can teleport and stuff. And I've heard it's really good. I haven't played it at all, but
yeah,
it's got really good graphics. We watched some clips from it, and it looks really cool. So
they did the killer mommy thing, the sound.
Yeah. When Jason gets close to.
Do you like horror games?
No, I don't like anything regarding horror. I was gonna say horror novels I don't like, but I've never read one. I don't think so. Like
you just don't like being scared.
I don't like being scared.
That's fair. It's not for everybody.
No, it's okay.
That's fine.
There's a lot of horror that I hate because I do agree that a lot of it ends up being boring.
Yeah.
So a lot of it I'm just like, like I can't watch this.
Well, I mean that's the problem is a lot of times they're like a guaranteed moneymaker because you can make them so cheaply that like just shit comes out, just like PG-13, so kids can get into it.
Yeah.
No actual scary parts, no plot. Like this weekend, that Wish-Upon movie comes out, which is like a
looks terrible.
I don't even think I've seen the trailer.
It's a demon song box or something that grants wishes but kills her friends.
Yeah, like they all end up bad. So why does she do the wishes, or why doesn't she wish she never got the box, or why doesn't she wish that the demon?
You got to see it to find out. There was also a movie that came out recently called The Bye Bye Man, which the trailer's nonsense. The only reason I have any attachment to it is because it was written by former survivor Jonathan Penner.
My attachment to that film is someone photoshopped the poster to say the pee pee poo poo man, and it was really funny. Their point was like horror films just sound dumber and dumber these days, and they got that point across. Yeah. So
you mentioned how cheap it is to make them, and what did Friday the 13th have, like a $500,000 budget?
Yeah.
It made almost $40 million, so domestic, and it made more worldwide. So there's your sign right there. That's why people keep churning out like $2 million budgets. If it only makes $6 million or something, you're still probably happy with that.
Kudos to Cunningham, because, as you guys said, he pulled out the full page ad before he even like made the movie to advertise it. So he knew he was sitting on gold there.
What's
and
funny-
I mean that might be why they did the stupid jump at the end, just to like have a further, because Mrs. Voorhees was dead, and
Yeah.
What's also funny to me, and I know you can't plan on releasing the movie on a Friday the 13th because they only come around, once a year or something? I don't know. There's probably math to it, but I don't care.
There's definitely math behind it.
The movie came out on May 9th of 1980.
Yeah, I think he had planned for a 13th, and that he took out a full page ad in Variety and just had a logo on it. Didn't have a script, didn't have financing, and had a date for later that, like 6 months later, that was on a 13th. Shocker, he didn't make it. And I guess had to settle for the
Maybe
9th.
it was like, by Friday the 13th, I'll have the script done for Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Was Friday the 13th like a horror thing before this?
Yeah, I think it's always been like a
I don't know, like a witchcraft thing or something?
Yeah, there has to be.
There has to be, yeah. They even mentioned in the movie like something about Friday the 13th and a full moon. I remember like one of the cops or truckers or something said that in passing. I have no more thoughts on this movie. I didn't have many, to be honest, but I've run them all out.
Yeah, there's better isolation films out there, I would say.
Does it ruin the slasher genre for you? Are you gonna give the other ones a go?
Probably not. Like, even because I have watched more horror movies lately than usual. It Follows I really like, but it's nothing like this. The Conjuring is fine, but it's also nothing like this. I can't see myself watching specifically the slasher subgenre that much again. I mean, it just doesn't do anything for me.
I say if you're gonna, for you, and I've said this for a while, if you're gonna dip into a specific slasher, just go with Scream.
Yeah, you've
And
told
I
me
think
to do that.
I think you'll get something out of that one. Really good characters. It's iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wes Craven's the best writer out of the ones involved.
What? So Wes Craven also
and
did
he even makes a
Nightmare on
Friday
Elm
the
Street.
13th joke. Like the opening character, Barrymore's character, has to answer like trivia questions about horror, or her boyfriend's gonna get killed, and one of them is who's the killer in Friday the 13th, and she says Jason, and then they got her boyfriend.
Well, they would have gotten me too.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Spoilers.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna explore it too deep.
I'll make you watch Scream one day. That's all we got.
All right.
Like if you like 90s, like
Yeah,
I think
but
90s movies are funny, like just for being 90s.
It has
I mean-
Nev Campbell in it.
I'll watch Scream. I don't want to, but I'll watch it. But I just don't like this kind of movie, you know?
I mean, I get it.
And then most of Wes Craven, like his two, like big ones, like Freddy and Scream, like both end up getting like meta. Like,
yeah, that's what I know about Scream. Scream gets really meta.
Yeah, Scream ends up like they make a movie about it within the movie, and then the same thing happens with Nightmare on Elm Street. Like New Nightmare, there's like a movie being made about Freddy.
It's that kind of stuff that makes them more interesting. But once you start adding things like that, it's less a slasher in my eyes. Like Friday the 13th is just a slasher. It brings literally nothing to the table other than body count. And once you start bringing those meta things in, like Cabin in the Woods is pure meta, and I thought it was excellent. And I don't even understand most of the tropes, but I can tell they knew what they were talking about. So that was good for me.
Yeah. Plus that ending in that one with having to decide like F everybody or go ahead and be sacrificed for the world.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
I really like that.
Well, I think we've hit a wall here.
Yeah.
Might as well just end it now.
All right.
Just get the canoe out in the middle of the lake.
Take a nap.
Take a little nap.
Max, where can the good people find us?
You can find us trying to reopen Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
Or you could just go to the criticalbreakdown.com. You can find me practicing archery. Or you can just find me on Twitter at Max Rivera Film.
You can find me and Crazy Ralph hiding in the pantry. Or you can find me at breakdown_Scott on Instagram.
You can find me every couple months here at the Critical Breakdown. Thank you for the 5th trip here on the pod.
It won't be your last either, I don't think.
Yeah.
I hope.
Our next movies will be better.
Yeah. It'll be fresh at least.
Yeah.
You could also find Kara at the Ayers Grand Cinemas.
I can. Yeah.
Where you should see movies this summer, you know.
They play them.
War of the Planet of the Apes coming out.
Yep.
Buy your ticket.
Buy your ticket.
We're on Facebook and thecriticalbreakdown.com, and our email is thecriticalbreakdownpodcast@gmail.com. Podcatchers, rate, review, you know, all the good stuff.
Yeah. I love it when you just zip through it.
Hey, you
Rate,
know, there's no
review.
reason to linger.
Art, Josh Rivera. Music, Jason Brown.
Wally Dog.
Wally Dog. Wee Boys. And She Girl.
There you go.
Next week on the Critical Breakdown.
Like we said, we're going to take a look back and see what we've actually just covered.
A year and a half, you know, of podcasting rotten movies. Let's take a look at it again.
59 rotten films.
60 rotten films.
60 rotten films.
Bada bing.
Bada boom.